What's going on, folks? It's me again. You guys are probably sick and tired of all of these lives that we've been doing, but folks, welcome to the Hustle Zone. My name is Ryan Perez. I am owner and founder of Bowtie Creative and host of the Hustle Zone. And, you know, we did a record-breaking live yesterday. We did 3-hour live. We did the Hustle Zone trivia. And I think that was great. I think my co-host Monica was pretty awesome. But we're going to be testing out that sort of live ever so often, just to kind of see what format's going to work for those trivias, because we definitely want to give people a break from, you know, just all the motivation, rah, 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 and then the depressing, here's my story, and, you know, kind of give people a little bit, you know, something a little bit different. But like I said, my name is Ryan Perez, and I am the owner of Bowtie Creative, so make sure you guys check out www.bowtie Creative. We are a company that does more. We have solutions that do more, websites that do more. We build online businesses. Anytime I hear people talk about websites, I cringe, because website is just like handing me a brochure. I mean, who like prints brochures anymore, man? Everything is in digital. The next thing is we just launched brandinggym.com, and Branding Gym is a company that does unlimited graphic design. So super excited about this company. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. And then, of course, we have HustleZone.tv, the world's first living documentary where we interview entrepreneurs about their stories. So we reveal more, right? That's why I always tell my guests, you know, this is not the episode where we talk about mindset and motivation. This is me asking you about your story and really giving people a different view of the type of person you are behind all the great, you know, photos that you have and the great, you know, lives that you do on Zoom. You know, we want to get the best story, and good stories are unique to you. So you guys definitely want to check that out. And we got a GoFundMe account. You know, we're looking for some donations so that we can continue on with this documentary. So www.gofundme.com/hustle-zone-tv. Check us out. And the reason why you want to donate with us, document stories. Okay, so we're documenting stories like our guest tonight. We also give free education. So everyone that is charging $9.97 for the secrets of success, I'm giving away all that information for free, because I really want to encourage the youth of the future to become entrepreneurs, you know, giving them a different path. And that goes to my second point, developing future entrepreneurs. Even if you're young or old, you know, it's never too late to get into entrepreneurship. And then we want to provide honest content. So we put your comments on the screen. So if you want to fact check things that I've said, things that my guests have said, we will display it on the screen. So that's live fact checking. And where does all the money go to? Again, and I apologize, this is the wrong graphic, because it should be 50%, but 50% is going to go into employees, 15% will go into travel, 5% will go into admin, 15% legal, and 15% tech. So so that's pretty much it. And now I think my guest is frozen. I don't know if he is still there. Looks like my guest is frozen. Are you still there, Andy? Okay. Oh, and then we got a lot of people in the room. So I'm gonna wait for Andy to come in. I'm not sure. It seems like he's frozen. It seems like there's a really bad internet connection. So I'm just going to give him some time to see if he can come back in. I'm going to just address some of the people that are in the room right now. So give me a few seconds, folks, while I log in to... so who all, like, put in the comment section, who all has come into the... who all has come into the live from yesterday? Okay, looks like our guest is back. So All right. We're just having some technical issues, folks. So if anything, we will edit this out in the post production. But who all was in the live last night? It was 3.5 hours. Yeah, I can hear you. And shout out to Rel Bush. Thank you so much for coming into the live. We got Rachel Johnson in the house. Thank you for coming out, Rachel. And then we got Susan Day. Susan Day, she's the Hustle Zone queen. She's been here from the very beginning. So, it's been over a year, Susan, since we've been doing this stuff. So, I really appreciate you for coming in on the live tonight. And folks, feel free to comment. I'm going to put those comments on the screen. Okay, awesome. So we got Simon in the house as well. So this is going to be awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Okay, so my guest is I just seen him around because obviously this is a really even though this is a big world. I live in Canada. He's out in right now he's traveling. He's out in New York. But I would see a lot of his stuff around. He's clean, polished, young entrepreneur. And, he's doing some big things. I mean, he put on a conference not too long ago. And, when I was 17 years old, and I changed my life around, one of the people that I would listen to on Napster, see, I think I'm too old because I don't even think my guest even knows what Napster is because that was where we were the file sharing, etc. But I was downloading, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and I was downloading Les Brown. And Les Brown, a lot of the things that he said had transformed my life. And lo and behold, here's a young guy that is 22 years old. He is an accomplished author. And he's also he's a motivational speaker, but he's 22 years old, and he got to meet a guy that I idolized for, nearly, I would say over like close to 15 years, so, he's living a bit of my dream because I wanted to do like a speaking engagement with Les Brown. So I found it really fascinating that he was able to put on the conference and to do all of that. So I'm super happy to have our guest on tonight. And so I want you guys to give it up for Mr. Andy Audate. How's it going, my brother? Hold on one second here.
I love that intro.
You love it, eh?
I love that intro. I love it. Oh, you're a real Canadian, man. You said the A at the end. Eh? Love it, eh?
Yeah, I'm a real Canadian. Someone called me out on that the other day. They're like, "Hey, I heard you say A," and I'm like, "Man, cha." My parents are from the Caribbean, so sometimes I hear people say A, and then some people in the States say A as well. But when you hear it from Canada, people have to point it out. But how are you doing, my brother? You're up late. You're in the Hamptons, dog. Like, you're living it up.
Man, God, all I know is God is good, man. I'm doing God's work. That's what I know.
Okay. And I know that there may be a delay, so folks, bear with us. So Andy, tell us a little bit about your book before we get started into our interview.
Man, I'm super pumped and I'm super excited. Okay, because I'm relaunching my book right now. So my original book is called No More Average, right? And it's about overcoming the averageness, and it defines what average is. When people say, like, hey, this guy's average, like, what is that and what does that mean? It defines it. But I'm pumped because I haven't even seen my relaunched book yet. I haven't actually seen the physical copy. And I'm going to be at an event I'm right now in New York. I live in Los Angeles. I'm going to be at an event in New York on Wednesday. So I ordered the book to the hotel. So on Tuesday, I'm going to actually have the physical copy when I'm at the hotel. So I'm pumped up. I'm excited for that. But No More Average is about overcoming that average life and experiencing life as the real you, what God has intended for your life to be like, what I believe God has intended for your life to be like.
Awesome. Now, folks, before we get started, please, this is a special occasion. See, I went and put on a sweater.
I love it.
Button up the shirt for this young guy. He's showing us all up. So I had to make sure I shaved and I was looking fresh and clean. And the comments are no longer showing on the screen, which is okay. But either way, so Andy. Oh yeah, sorry. You guys got to share this because this is history in the making. Because I think that one of these days, Mr. Andy's going to be really famous, and I think we're all going to know his name. He's going to be a household name. So make sure you guys share this feed for tonight. And show us your love, show us your interactivity, just so that we can have some energy in the room tonight. And make sure that if you guys can't watch this episode, you can always go onto our website, hustlezone.tv, or you can go and see us or you can hear us on iTunes. So, okay, Andy, so we have a tradition on the Hustle Zone, and this wouldn't be the Hustle Zone if I didn't ask you this first question. Now, and it's an open-ended question. What is your story? So before your success, before all of the public speaking, and I mean, you have 22 years span, start from the very beginning. How did you grow up? Like, who are you?
I was born. It all started when I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. I was born in the Beantown. My mom was watching Oprah, right? She's pregnant at the time. My mom's watching Oprah, and gush, like out of nowhere, her water breaks, and my aunt is with her at the house, and he's like, "Oh shoot, it's time. Let's go to the hospital." And so they're going to the hospital. Of course, I'm in my mom's belly at the time, and my mom's driving the car. My aunt is driving the car to the hospital, but my aunt is panicking, and she's looking at my mom, and she's like, Gina, my mom's name is Gina. She's like looking at my mom. She's like, Gina, are you okay? Like, she's freaking out, and she's freaking out more than my mom is. My mom's like, calm, she's cool, she's collective. And I think that's where I get my calmness, coolness, and collective from, is from my mom, who's just calm in situations of disarray. And, in a few hours, I was born. I was born on December 31st, the last day. Am I still good?
Yeah, you're still good. Go ahead.
Okay, I was born on December 31st, the last day of the year. But, it was a blessing. After that, 7 years later, I moved from Boston to Rhode Island. And I'm just an average 7-year, get it? Average. I'm just an average 7-year-old kid at the time. And I wanted things, I wanted the things that my friends had. And I've spent many years wanting these items, these things that my friends had, which it could have been the Xbox, it could have been the shoes, the clothes, the bling bling, the money, all these little material things. 4 years after that, I'm 11 years old. I say to my mom, look, I'm tired of not getting the things that I want. I'm going to go out and make it happen. How are you going to do that? Mom, I'm going to go knock on every single door, and I'm going to ask them if I can shovel their yard, make some money that way. So that's what I started. In the winter, I would shovel people's snow, get $10 a pop. In the summer, I would have lemonade stands and do yard sales. Then I started realizing the consciousness of money. I started realizing, like, if I do something for someone else, I make money. After 11 years old, I'm doing that for a few years. I get a job at 16 years old, and I just work, hustle for money. I was 15 years old. I was 16, and had my license, I bought a $3,500 car. I had $3,000 or whatever it was at 16 years old. I was just focused on getting what I wanted. At 19 years old, I had a friend of mine who I was working with at a cell phone store. We were both working at a cell phone store. He said to me, Andy, I believe in you. I think you should quit and open up your own cell phone store. I said, you know what? Let's do it. At 19 years old, I opened up my first cell phone store. And that person who told me, I brought him onto my team. By 20 years old, I had 4 locations and 14 employees. And at 21, I moved from Rhode Island to Los Angeles. And now I'm still developing the remainder of the story. But now it wasn't all fun and games. It's like throughout those times, there was a lot of times of uncertainty, a lot of times of sadness, and a lot of times of just disarray. And that just comes with part of the lifestyle and part of just life in general.
Mm-hmm. You know, like the way that you're making it sound is as though you did this all on your own. And you being a younger entrepreneur, who were the type of people that were helping you along the way build this stuff up?
Okay, no, I did not do it all on my own. I made the decision on my own to do it, but in order for me to actually be practical and have the skill set and have the mindset to even think big enough to say that I can do stuff like this, I had to get the right people around me. And I tend to fall to people who were older than me. So I had mentors in my life that would help me along the route. So when I was 17, 18, I had a mentor called James Jackson. And James Jackson was a black entrepreneur in my area where I looked up to him and said, look, he's black, I can do it. You know, in many hoods and in many ghettos or impoverished areas, the younger guy looks up to the guy that they most relate to. So if you're in the hood and the only person that is doing well is the guy on the block selling drugs, and he has a nice car, and he has this, and he has that, he has the girl and everything, and that's all you see, that's who you're going to look up to. Now, I saw that type of person, but I also saw the person who was doing it right, and I said to myself, I want to go in that direction. The person that's doing it right, the person that's also black, the person that grew up like myself, I want to do it just like that. Now, at the time, he was a struggling entrepreneur, but look, he was paying me, right? At the time, $500 was like a lot of money to me. Getting paid more than $8 an hour, you are balling. So I saw that, and I'm just like, man, I want to hang around him, and I got the opportunity to. I was in the back of his office. I was working for him, and I was working at a store that he worked in the back office, running a few of his stores. And I would just go to the back of the store, which was his office. I would say, what are you doing? And he'd be like, oh, I'm doing payroll. And I would say, okay, that's cool. Like, what is payroll? Oh, payroll is when you have employees and you pay your employees. Okay, awesome. What does that look like? Oh, this is a system that we use. Let me show you. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, well, he'll also show me how his company is expanding. Now, when you expand, you got to hire more employees. Okay, let me see the interview process. People will come into the store. I work the front end, which was an actual store, working the computers and having the phones and the cases out. But in the back was the actual headquarters. So people would come in through the store, go to the back and be interviewed. So I would see that process. I would also see the process of people going to the back to be fired. I saw the whole entire process. And within a year, I had the courage and I had the know-all to actually run my own cell phone store. Now, when I started my cell phone store, realized that I still had the right people around me, giving me the direction or mentoring me when I needed the information or needed help, okay? So I would suggest that if you're trying to level up, you got to find a mentor, someone who can show you the ropes, okay?
Now, I used to, like, you know, when you say cell phones, that's how I started my career because, you know, I was an entrepreneur at that time when I was 17, 18, 19, around that age. A group of us. I was a rapper, believe it or not, folks. I was doing rap, and you know, I had my rap crew, and you know, I had this dream of becoming a successful you know, entrepreneur. But I needed money, and I didn't have an education. I didn't graduate high school, so I started my first thing in telecommunications and made $40,000 that first year, and I was like, man, that's a lot of money. God damn it. You know, because it's all commission, right? But you know, it took me years to kind of break out of retail and sales and stuff like that, because I didn't really know how to really get into my own thing. But I know with managing several of these stores that starting a cell phone company is not cheap. You need to buy inventory of phones, expensive phones like the iPhone, and there's little to no margin on those phones. So where did you get the money to start a cell phone store, and then to grow it to 4 stores?
So when I was maybe at a young age, I don't know, I was young, but I developed a system that allowed me to save money because I realized that every week I was getting paid $300 to $500, and I had no money by the next paycheck. And I saw this vicious cycle of $300 to $500 on Friday. Next Thursday, I'm down at zero, and it was a vicious cycle of paycheck to paycheck. I'm 17 at the time, 16, 17, 18, and I don't have any bills. I don't think I paid my cell phone bill, but I liked cash. I loved the money. And I liked having it. So I realized my problem was that I was seeing money and realizing when I saw money, I would spend money. And I would see it on my cell phone app, right? So what I did was I hid my savings account away from my what do you call this? My mobile app. I saved I hid my savings account, and then I had a bank account that was far away from me, out of my reach. So Bank of America was my main account that I would use on a regular basis. And then after that, I would have an account, a far account that was out of my reach, that had a checking and savings account. And I would ask my employer to send my money, parts of my money, to this account, to these accounts. And my savings account, I would put a little money stashed away in my savings account that I had no access to because it was hidden. So when I got paid $300, what actually showed up in my bank account was $120. When I got paid $500, what actually showed up in my bank account was $270. You understand? And I would just start saving money unconsciously because all I knew was I got paid. Oh yeah, where did the rest of the money go? In my savings, but you never touched that money. After a year or two of doing this, I think I had like $7,000 remaining. And when the conversation came to open up the cell phone store, I went to all my accounts and I realized, okay, dang, I had $7,000. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to open up the cell phone store. Now, you are 100% right, dude. One iPhone could cost $850. If you only have $7,000, you can only buy like 8 iPhones, and that's your whole entire store. So I didn't go that route. I took the route of hustling, which was taking the cheap phones. Like when I tell you the cheap phones, my inventory cost was $900. My first order of inventory, I think it was like $900. And the rest of the money went to organizing my company, setting up. I didn't even have an LLC at the time. I was a sole proprietor. I was going through a mask EIN number to protect my social security, but I didn't go the LLC route. And I paid rent for a month and a half. So the month, and then I think like a security deposit, which was like $1,500. And I had a few dollars remaining to buy accessories and to buy a laptop. And I spent the whole entire $7,000 within a few weeks of opening up the cell phone store. And all I knew that I had to focus on was paying rent the next month. I ordered 9 phones. Okay, it was 9 phones. Paulo Chavez is in here right now. Is in the Facebook Live. He was part of the team when I first opened up those cell phone stores. So I started the store with 9 phones, 9 cheap phones, all at less than $100 a pop. Flipped those phones, got the profit, kept the profit to pay rent, to keep on growing the business. So it was profit in, back into the business, profit in, back into the business, growing the business, eventually to one day I can get an iPhone. And the way that the story was when I actually started bringing iPhones into my business was I built a relationship with a supplier, and I said, can you give me net, which is you send me the iPhones, you don't charge me until I sell them in 30 days, and I'll pay you back your part in 30 days. And that's how I started growing. I got credit.
So, okay, you got credit. Now, man, that seems like, wow, like you saw the opportunity, you pounced on it, and like you said, like all the costs, you broke it down because, I mean, I was in that industry. I managed a few stores. Inventory, and especially inventory that's cheap inventory, some of that stuff just stays. Oh, I hear myself, but you got the accessories sitting on the wall and they don't move anywhere. And then you got cheap phones that maybe not a lot of people want to buy. How did you flip those phones? Like how did you push cheap products on people so that you can get to that next level? Where did you get the
It
sales
was
skills from?
all right. Well, let me rephrase the word. It wasn't cheap products. It was inexpensive phones. There's price ranges, and where I'm from, it's an area where you have either drug dealers or you have people who can't afford the high end products. So they spend $100 on the phone, right? And the $100 phone includes the phone and the service, right? So the cost for the first month of service was literally probably $0, which meant that in my business, just so you know, Ryan, I did prepaid phones. I didn't do postpaid. And I think what you're talking about is more on the postpaid carriers, right? Now I did prepaid, so there's a little bit higher profit margin, but just on the front end, not the back end. Postpaid, you have more money on the back end, and that's just between you and I because we both know the industry.
Right.
So because prepaid, cheap entry, inexpensive entry, but it's still a business. I didn't have accessories on the wall. I had a cart in the mall. It all started at a cart, not even an actual store. I didn't get my first store until 6 months after. So it was a cart in the mall. So it was very inexpensive for me to start. I had to hustle. Now, how we started selling was greeting customers. I have a technique where I can get a customer who's, say, 50 feet away from me to get them to come over here. And I will give you that technique right now, but it's for your viewers. And I've never done this on a Facebook Live before, but I'm going to do it for your viewers because it happens in real life. So this is what I would do. I would whisper. So I would do just this. And I would look at the person as if I'm saying something. And they say, what? And I say, no, what I was saying, I would talk loud, then I would drift my voice down. So what I was saying was when you come, and they'd be like, what did you say? And when they get actually closer to me, I was saying, I work at a cell phone store. What phone do you have? And they'd be like, I have an iPhone 6. And I'm going to pretend like I don't know what iPhone 6 is, right? So they would be like, I have an iPhone 6. I was like, iPhone 6? You have it with you? And I would look at their wallet or their purse or whatever they're holding, and they'd be like, yeah. And they'll show it to me. I'll say, let me see that. And I'll grab it out of their hand, and I would look at the phone like this. I'll say, oh, iPhone 6. I will grab it, keep holding on to it, and bring it to my car and put it behind my computer. And now I'm doing my pitch. I'm 19 years old teaching people how to do that. I'll grab it, put it behind my computer. Now I'm doing my pitch. Now you would have some asshole people that are like, give my fucking phone back. And I'll give them the phone back. But you have some people who are actually listening. And then after that, do my pitch, and I'll sell them on something else.
So where did you get those skills from? I mean, like, I was in sales even from when I was 12. So you kind of learn from watching other people, but like, was it just you being really hungry and just trying to find multiple ways of getting that dough? Or, you know, like, how did you get that smart to be able to, you know, to kind of wheel them into listening to you and talking to you?
I was mentored by somebody who was my manager, because remember, I was working at a Metro PCS before I opened up my own spot. So I was already selling phones. And that's part of the strategy that you needed to sell phones. And now, in addition to that, someone taught me the whisper technique, right? They taught me the whisper technique. But after the whisper technique, I had to figure out, how do I get them to stay? Because they would come to me with the whisper after the whisper technique, and then they'd leave. I think I froze. Am I frozen?
You're not frozen.
Okay, I hope.
Yeah.
Hey, I need y'all to comment. I know you're like, I know you like the story, but I need y'all to comment. Show some love. Show some love at the bottom. Say what's up, Andy. Show some love at the bottom. Now, so I learned about this technique, the whisper, right? And after the whisper, I did my own type of finessing into it, where I got people to stay by taking their phone and placing it behind the register, not allowing them to take the phone back. So now, if you are in the mall walking and someone does this to you, and you're actually there to take your phone, you're about to be sold. Another thing that I would do, if I don't have their phone in my hand, I would do this. I would say, man, I got something just for you. Turn around and do this, and never look back. If you look back, that means you are not confident. the most confident person in the sales negotiation wins. So you got to turn around and keep walking as if they're walking behind you. And you know, like some people might not follow you. That's okay. Just turn around and boom. As soon as you start walking, what happens is that people are like, am I really going to follow this guy? Like, he's not, and they walk behind me. And that's when I would do the pitch. Now I got them to my zone and to my store. Okay? That's what I would do.
Wow, that's crazy. And I think you you're pretty good at sales. And I mean, and I can tell you firsthand, in coming into one, I think I was in one of your lives, and you said you saw me in the chat, and you're like, my man, Ryan Perez, what's going on, my man? And then you're like, I got a book just for you. And you signed it and everything, and he's like $29.99 or whatever the thing is. And, you know, you had your sales pitch. But, you know, when I saw that, I was like, man, that reminds me.
Dude, I'm still waiting for you to buy the book, man.
I was like, you know what? Because the way that you made it sound like I was going to get it for free. And I was like, man, that is so nice of this guy to be like, he signs the book and like, you know, said, but I said to myself, you know, I'm like, that reminds me of when I was younger and just the, you know, the cleverness, but you also, you know, your energy and your confidence and stuff like that. So I was like, man, one of these days I want to get you on this show because I think people really need to understand a guy like yourself, because it doesn't seem like this hunger is going to go away. I mean, you seem really hungry, you know, to reach, you know, plateaus in your life. So I commend you on some of those strategies. What were you going to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'll be sure to send you the PayPal invoice after this.
But so yeah, now that being said, so you've kind of moved from cell phones. Now, what happened afterwards? You know, how did you get into writing your own book and getting into this next level?
Yeah. So after doing the cell phone business, I did this. So now my company's name was called Progression Wireless, right? And the reason I called it Progression was because I come from an area where people weren't really focused on like goals and dreams and aspirations, and I was the only one. And it seemed to me like I was preaching to a lot of people. So I decided, like, yo, if I open up my own business, I could have people come into my business, and my business would be responsible for a lot of people having that mindset of getting better. That's what my dream was. That's what my goal was. Imagine me having a whole bunch of employees who were just focused and driven as much as I was. That company would move as a unit very quickly, very fast, and they would explode, that company, right? Mm-hmm. A company focused on progression. So that's why it's called Progression Wireless. Mm-hmm. Now, what I realized was this. Not everyone cared about progressing. Majority of people actually came into my company just for a paycheck. And I was shocked. I had one of my employees, he told me, he was like, that company realized that move as a unit are just here for a paycheck. Like, all they care about is Friday's paycheck, that what you're going to give them, the money you're going to give them. And I was just like, nah, this company's on progression, not about money, it's on progression. And once I actually realized that was true, I quickly, it hit me hard. And I remember there was, in business, you have peaks and there's valleys. So when I tell you I had a great month, this was probably the best month. The most money my company has ever made was in this one single month. And it's just after we got some different financing available, and a new phone just launched, and it was available for people and people's credit. Like, it didn't matter what credit they had bad credit, good credit. Like, it would hit me. So we made a lot of money. And so I was going through a serious peak, right? And then right after that, boom, a valley. So in business, you have highs and you have lows. When you have a job and you're getting paid X amount of dollars per hour, your money is pretty consistent. But for the business, it goes up and down. Mm-hmm. So I had a month that I went down, and dude, I was 19, maybe 20 years old, and I'm like, I don't have a degree in accounting, So I'm spending money ridiculously, dude. I'm traveling, I'm buying people food, I'm buying people stuff, and I'm going to Vegas, and I'm renting cars. Dude, there was a time that my car wasn't doing well. Hey, Phil's in the building. Thank you so much, Phil. Phil was a partner in the cell phone business of mine. So now I didn't even have a car. I remember the car that I purchased had a transmission problem. So I was renting cars and all different types of cars, Audis and all these different type of cars. And then I hit that peak, dude. When I hit that peak, it was like, where did all my money go? Like, where did all my money go? And I remember I hit a peak and sales weren't coming in the way that they were. And I had a payroll due. And one of my employees, she has a child, and she was like, Andy, the way she looked at me, like, Ryan, when I tell you, this young woman looked at me with like I don't know, like a bear cub. She looked at me, she was like, Andy, I gotta feed my daughter and buy her diapers. Like, I depend on you for money. And it hit me, dude. I was like, wow, I gotta go and get this money. So what I did was I hit the streets. In a legal way. I got phones from my store and went on Craigslist, and I was banking phones, selling phones on Craigslist. Even though I had employees in the stores, I was selling these iPhones on Craigslist for the low and just taking that profit, reinvest. It's pretty much how I used to sell cell phones when I was in high school. That's how I used to hustle in high school. Flip phones in the streets, like left and right. So I did that, and then I went back to my office, right? I had an office that was in a rural city, that's so I can manage all the stores. And that was like the central hub for inventory and all that. So I go back to my office and I'm sitting there by myself. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Outside is pitch black because this office is in a rural place. My office manager wasn't there. My inventory manager wasn't there. It was just me by myself, 11 at night. I'm looking at the bank account and I'm like, wow, I'm broke. Yep, I'm broke. I got a few grand left, and I'm broke. I'm really bad. And I just go to the bathroom, dude. I go to the bathroom because it was dark. I lay down on the floor. I'm touching. My feet is along the sink. To my feet is touching the toilet. To my left is the sink. To my right is the white wall, and behind me is a door. And I'm just laying down there, and I'm just sad, dude. I'm just sad. And I was like, you know what? I cried. And after I cried, I got up. I went to my car. I went to the car. I was renting at the time I had a silver car. I was renting that. Got in the car, closed the door, and just looked up and I prayed to God, right? I just asked God. I was like, God, I pray to take my life to a whole nother level, to what you want me to do, and remove anyone that's hindering my success. See, I'm a spiritual man. I believe in God wholeheartedly. And I drove home. Just sad. I probably was playing sad music the whole 9 yards. So, I'm just pissed off. And once I get home, right, I plug in my phone and I put on Pandora music. And I just laid down, my face down on my bed, and I just laid down with my arms to the side. And what played was a song called 7 Years from Lucas Graham. And the song goes, once I was 7 years old, my story was told. So it plays that song, and I'm listening it, and I'm visualizing it. So the story starts when the guy was 7 years old, right? And he skips ages. He goes from 7 to 11, from 11 to 20, and he talks about, his life when he was that age. So when he talked about when he was 7 years old, I connected with him because I remember being 7, roaming the streets with my friends. He jumped to 11, and I remember me being 11, and I was shoveling the snow. Then he jumped to 20 years old, and I remember being 20 because at the time I was 20. Then he jumped to 30, and then he talked about his story at 30, and then he jumped to 60, and he told his story at 60. And then after that, he made a comment that his dad only got 61 years to live. So in 4 minutes, this guy told the whole story of the life in 4 minutes. And I got up from that, like, it wasn't a nap, but I got up from laying down like that. And I said, I need to make a change in my life. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I need to make a complete change because life is too short. I looked at life like this, right? Like this huge thing. And I looked at my life like this. So life is just too short. The world is like this. This is my life. It's too short. I need to make a decision. The next day I go to my best friend Patrick's house and I say to Patrick, I said, hey, I'm sitting at the kitchen table. Patrick is across from me at the kitchen table. My feet is up on the chair, and I'm looking at Pat, and I'm saying, like, yo, you want to make a serious change in 2016? And he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm just like, let's move. Like, let's get out of here. I'm done. Let's get out of here. He said, where you want to go, Andy? The first thing that came to my mind, Los Angeles. Ever since I was young, Los Angeles has been like a goal for me, like a dream. So I said, Los Angeles. I've never been to LA at the time. I've never been there. And you know what he said to me? He said, let's do it. Now we had to overcome some fear and battle some, negative stuff in our life. But we just did it. And it wasn't easy. If you read my book, I go more into detail of the stuff of like how we overcame the fear and what we had to do, and the trials and tribulations that we had, because it wasn't easy. Patrick didn't want to go. There was a time that I didn't want to go because I was scared. It's a big change in our life. But how we did it, it's in the book, nomoreaveragebook.com.
Oh.
Now, when you said I plug, right? You said I plug, right?
I love the plug. I love it. But here, let me tell you something. You're the first person to really, you're like, just as a compliment, you have a really good demeanor about your business, and the fact that you plug your book. So, because I'm here like, what happened? I'm here shedding tears in the background like, once I was 7 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, shoot, 20 years? I'm like so captivated, and then I gotta go buy the book. So look like I'm gonna have to buy the book after all. So that's awesome. But now we're gonna dial back a little bit, because I keep on, the one theme that I see is that you have been really hungry. And I'm going to go to a story of mine. Not going to talk too long, because this is about you. And I love the link. The link shows up on the screen. You guys can go purchase the book, No More Average. This is awesome. So, Andy, you seem to be very hungry for success. Now, I was hungry for success, but you know why? Because my mom was, she was living minimum wage. She had 3 children. And she was a single mom, that whole story that you will see on Lifetime. And I went to school. I didn't really have, I was going down the wrong path, and I was hungry for success because I didn't have nothing. And I was hungry for success because I see other people that didn't have anything, and that scared the bejesus out of me. But everybody has a story. But what were the things that you were observing in your childhood that would make you so hungry? Because I have friends that aren't hungry. I have friends that grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. I had friends that, had their parents, 2 parents in the home, and didn't witness abuse and all that stuff, because like I wanted money because I wanted to run away from the abuse that I was having at home with my mom. Right? Yeah. So what caused you to be so hungry?
Man, I think at a young age, right? I just said to myself it wasn't fair. My parents, like, now that I'm older, I understand the financial things that my parents went through when I was younger. Because at the time, I remember my dad, it was like, you got to go to college and you got to be a doctor. Like me, I went to college and I went to school for medical, and your mom is in the medical field. And I thought, like, for a moment that we were rich, dude. We're rich. My parents are rich. And I didn't realize like how much they sacrificed to try to get me the best education, to try to put me through, to get me around the best people, right? I went to Catholic school for up all the way until 8th grade. I went to private school. They hustled for that. Hours on end. Now I understand why I spent so much time in daycare, was because they were working to be able to pay for my private school. So I learned that you got to work for what you want. They never gave me anything. They gave me a bed to sleep in, and the necessity of food to eat, and they gave me water. They gave me a shelter. So like they didn't give me anything past that. And now I had friends, because now I'm in private school. I have friends around me who do have a lot. Right. Who, like, their parents are like, dude, private school, we'll pay the whole school year. We'll pay the whole year tuition right now. You know what I'm saying? But my parents were like, we'll pay every month as much as we can, or we're late for your school payment. Please don't kick my son out. You know, so so I saw what my friends had, and it was like, wow. Now I understand. Like, if I went to a public school, this is the honest truth, and this is my belief now that I'm thinking about this. If I went to a public school and I saw a lot of the people around me, they didn't have much, I would have been like, oh, this is normal. We all don't have much. Mm-hmm. But at a young age, I saw that, like, why can't I have an Xbox? Mom, can you buy me an Xbox like my friend does? No, we can't do that. Okay. Can I have Nike Air Forces, Dad? No, we can't do that. Well, what can I have then? All my friends have something, but I don't have. Damn. So I was pissed off. So I was like, I'll go get it myself. I'll go get it myself. Don't worry about it. And it all started at a young age, dude. It all started. So when I got to public school and high school, now I noticed that I had a drive and a tenacity that many of my peers didn't have, and I just kept on going with it because I found that innately at a young age when I was pretty much broke going to rich people's school and hanging out with rich people. So therefore, I just looked like that was normal. So my standards are normal. Like my standards was raised by being around these type of people. Mm-hmm. So it forced me. So now I just learned something. Going back in my story, when you hang around the right people, your standards just start being raised. Mm-hmm. If I hang around a whole bunch of business owners, so like to not have your own business in my social circle is like what's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? You don't have your own business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was through that same thing because I would see my friends driving the cars. They got the girls in the car. And here I got this is year 2000, and I got baggy jeans and no bus fare, and I'm seeing people drive off in their cars, and I'd be walking home and I'm like, one of these days I'm going to show y'all. One of these days I'm going to show y'all. One of these days I'm going to show y'all. So that's why because like anyone that knows me on the Hustle Zone knows I work hard from when I wake up until I go to bed. And my mentor always told me, he says, work is a blessing. Work is a blessing. And if you have the ability to work, you can always find a way to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? And you just have to work hard. So, I commend you for, recognizing at a very young age that if you want something serious in your life, that, you have to work hard for it. And the fact that you can look back at age 22, it didn't take me till like I was 28 to look back at my parents and not blame them for my shortcomings. And the fact that you learned it like earlier in your career, that's brilliant.
No. It's not really like that early. It's like right now, dude. Like it's like right now. It's like probably. Well, like probably. To be honest, like I texted my father recently, and I was just like, although back then I hated you for the stuff that you did, I love you so much because I understand like why you had to do what you had to do. I understand like why you weren't there a lot of the times. Like I remember going to basket and I still tear up, dude. I'm not even fucking with you. I still tear up because I remember going to basketball games and my parents weren't there. Like they had to work, dude. And it's like to this day, dude, I'm getting this money so they can live the life that they want to live. I'm doing the things so they can live the life that they want to live because when I was young, dude, they were at work. They were always working, man. Like they're always working. I'm at daycare. I leave home at 7:30 in the morning. I don't get picked up till 5 p.m. And by 5 p.m. everybody's tired because my parents are tired because they work. So what am I gonna eat? Oh, go make yourself some ramen noodles. Like ramen noodles is normal to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know we were broke. It's just ramen noodles was like that's food. So you go make yourself some ramen noodles. And then, so like they weren't there. And I realize now it's because like, dude, they have to work. They have to grind. Look, if you have a child right now, man, right now, all the things that you do for your child is gonna propel them in a certain direction in the future. Mm-hmm. All the things that I do to this day, right at this day, is because of how I was raised as a child. Now I'm in the Hamptons, right? And what was it, like yesterday night, me and my business associate Rob, we leave the house that we're at and we go to some pizza spot down the street, and I'm talking to the pizza owner. Here, relationships, okay? understand the connection in my story with relationships. So I'm talking to the pizza owner, and he tells me, like, since his son was young, he showed his son a lot of money. The pizza owner would have like 10 grand on the table, counting money from the pizza owner's restaurants, and he would show his son, like, this is money, 10 grand, So what that did for that young boy, it showed his standard of living. Your standard of living is to have a lot of money. And on top of that, the father would have his son sweep and mop the floor and do the cash register and the whole 9 yards of the business. And he would also have his son think bigger, talk about ideas of thinking bigger. Now, what happened to his son? His son is now 29 years old, and his son's a millionaire, makes more than his father. Because at a young age, this young boy saw his standard being raised, then his circle, his standards raised, and his daughter is doing the same thing. The pizza owner's daughter is doing something very well, gets paid more than the average American, because their standards at a young age was raised. Mm-hmm. So the environment that I grew up in and all the little bits of information, dude, that's why I am the way I am today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So before we go to our second round of questioning, the last question is, you got to meet Les Brown. How did you get to meet him?
Okay, so sales is an important aspect in your life, and you have to. If you're working a retail job, I'm so grateful that I made the move and the shift out of the cell phone business into like a hardcore sales position, because although the cell phone is retail sales, it doesn't cut it. I suggest that everyone go into something that's hardcore sales. Like, you got to prospect, you have to find your customer. And the reason I suggest that people do that is because it will actually help you with your life and the goals and the things that you want that other people have. Okay. So when I moved from Rhode Island to Los Angeles, I got a job working as a copier salesperson, sales rep. And this job required me to get in my own car and drive to different businesses and knock on so many doors to find out, first, who has a copy machine, and second, how am I going to sell them a new one if they already have one. Okay. And it was very hard. And what I learned from that business was persistence and perseverance and just going after it. Persistence, perseverance, and going after it. So if I had a prospect who had a copy machine and I had a reason to sell them a new one, how do I get that deal when they're focused on running their own life, they're focused on their own business, and the first thing that comes up to their mind is not a copy machine. So I got to make a copy machine the top of their mind. It's called top of mind awareness. So I would have to be persistent, just always show up. Hey, how are you? That's actually how I got my girlfriend. Just keep showing up. Hey, how are you? So afterwards, you knock on the door, knock, boom, find one, keep showing up. No, get out of my office, Andy. Okay, leave, come right back the next day. Hey, I have an offer for you. You come back X amount of times, they're going to say, okay, let me hear your offer. And then if they don't take the offer right then and there, you keep on coming back until they do. That's persistence, perseverance, and going after it. Mm-hmm. So I use the same thing with a lot of my relationships and what I want. Right now on my Facebook page, I'm looking at a picture of me and Grant Cardone. And I use the same strategy in order to get a relationship with Grant. And Grant and people like Grant and people who are very high, who are very high caliber, they appreciate that because they understand that I am hungry. If I keep coming back, I'm hungry. You know I want this, and I show that off. So to answer your question, right, I joined the Les Brown Institute last year. Les Brown has an institute where he teaches people how to speak, and it's a separate company, but he teaches people how to speak through online courses and through live certifications throughout the year. And when I first went there, let me have you understand this. There's opportunity in the show up. So when I first went there, realizing there's opportunity when you show up, I flew from LA to Miami to see the Les Brown Institute. I wanted to see it firsthand. Now, I didn't have to be there because majority of the courses are online. Everything's online. I didn't actually have to show up, but I wanted to show up to actually meet the people. So I show up on a random day. I chose the cheapest flight, show up on a random day. And I'm in there shaking people's hands. Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you? Meeting all the salespeople, and the CEO is there. I shook hands with the CEO. The president's there. I shook hands with the president. And then, ironically, by a strike of God, by the grace of God, Les Brown happens to be in Florida. Now, Les Brown travels throughout the country, but Les Brown happens to be in Florida. And after the fact that Les Brown's in Florida, I think he was doing a gig in Florida. He just happens to be in Fort Lauderdale. That's where the office was. And now, even though he's in Fort Lauderdale, he happens to show up the same day, the same time I'm at the office. He walks in with a white T-shirt, blue sweatpants, and he looks at me out of nowhere. He says, "Young man, he touched my face. He's wiping something on my face." I had no idea he was wiping a white piece of lint that I had on my face. I thought he was telling me my beard was like I didn't have a lot of facial hair like he does. So I thought he was telling me a joke, but he was like, "Young man, you look like me when I was younger." And he made a joke. "I'm taking this off your face." And I was like, "Come on, Les, like it's not dirt. It's actually facial hair." And I was making a joke, but he was like, "No, you have something on your face." And I was like, "Come on, man, I got nothing. Come on, man." I'm shocked, dude. I'm mesmerized. I'm tripping right now. And he's like, "No, dude, you have something on your face." And he walked away. he walked away. He walked away like, "Nah, dude, you have something on your face." I look at my face and I realize it's something white. There's a white piece of lint on my face. And he walked away. I'm like, "Oh no, I lost the opportunity." Come on, man. But so I kept on showing up to places where I knew that I had an opportunity to build relationships with the right people. Understand, in order for you to level up, you got to build relationships. So I kept on showing up. Eventually, that I started building a relationship with the right people, and the right people helped me level up, and so on and so forth, and the rest is history.
Wow. Folks, if you guys haven't shared, please share now, because, I mean, this was a really great first part of the interview. We're going to go through our lightning round in a few seconds, but, you know, this show is brought to you by www.bowtiecreative.com and brandinggym.com. So, you know, oh man, like Andy, man, this is what a great story. Thank you for sharing so much. So we're going to go into our lightning round speed, or our speed lightning round, and ask just, you know, this is just a question. These are questions that, you know, help us get to know other sides of you. So from a scale to 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping secrets?
I can't say.
From scale from 1 to 10.
I can't say, dude. It's a secret.
Okay, Michael Jackson or Prince?
You said Michael Jackson or Prince?
Yeah.
Who was originally black?
Okay, next question. Next question. Okay, so dawn or dusk?
Dawn or dusk? Dawn. Oh, dawn. I know dawn is now.
Okay, so what's your favorite holiday?
Dude, I'm not really a holiday person, but Christmas, because it's 6 days before my birthday.
Okay. Do you snore?
Yes.
A place that you want to travel the most?
I still gotta finish the United States. So United States.
Favorite childhood TV show?
Simpsons.
Last Halloween costume?
A black guy.
Cake or pie?
Cake. Cheesecake.
Do you ever post inspirational quotes on social media?
Of course.
And invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell somebody.
So,
I'm posting that on Facebook, man. Dude, you created that one?
no, these are just pre-made lightning round questions. So, Andy, thank you so much. How can we find you, my brother?
Andy, yo, just find me on my Facebook, Andy Audate. I think it's facebook.com/Andy Audate. Just find me. I want to connect with everyone who watches this and tell me what your thoughts were so far. Message me on Facebook. Look, I got my Facebook open right now. I want to message you right now. So find me on Facebook, and I want you to say, hey, that was a great interview, and let's start from there.
Awesome. And what did you think about being on the Hustle Zone?
Dude, the Hustle Zone was dope. It was great. You know, you have a different setup than many other interviews that I've done, and I love yours. I love your show, man.
Oh, awesome. And so before we close out, we have one more tradition that we do on the Hustle Zone. So I do a call and response. So I say, welcome to and I need you to scream as loud as you can, Hustle Zone. But it has to be loud. Okay, so I'm going to do it in 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the
Hustle Zone.
Well, you gotta yell it, man. We gotta feel the soul, the passion, the fire, the hunger. So let's do it one more.
Dude, it's midnight. I'm in the house with other people. Come on, man.
I know, but I had people do it with their kids. They had newborns, all kinds of things. So you have to. It's the last tradition. They'll have to forgive me. They can blame me. So one more time. Welcome to the
Hustle Zone.
Well, thank you so much, man. So Andy, man, and then make sure when is your book coming out again?
December 22nd. When I actually get my physical copy, I'm gonna do a Facebook Live. But December 22nd, you'll be able to get your book at No More Average. But right now, if you go to nomoreaveragebooks.com, you can order it. I'm gonna ship it to you before anyone else gets it.
Okay, awesome. So
nomoreaveragebooks.com.
Folks, he said it best. NoMoreAverage.com. Thank you so much, Andy.
NoMoreAverageBook.com. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem. Wow, what a great interview, right, folks? Like, he gave you everything, and you think, because, that's why with success, it doesn't really matter what age you are, what sex you are, what race you are. Everybody has their own story, and this is why we do the Hustle Zone, because we want to collect stories like this and add it to our repertoire. My biggest takeaway of tonight's story was, just being in the place where you want to see your success. He put himself in positions where, he could see more success. His parents put him in situations where he could see the success. So what were your guys' biggest takeaways of the show? Guys, make sure you guys check me out on hustlezone.tv to see other interviews, and make sure you go to brandinggym.com for unlimited graphic design. Make sure you go to bowtiecreative.com and one more time, go to our GoFundMe.com /hustle-zone-TV and donate a little something so that we can continue doing this on a larger scale, so that we can travel and meet entrepreneurs like Andy and record their stories and put it in part of the documentary. My name is Ryan Perez. I am the Hustle Zone King. I am RP to God, and I will talk to you guys later.